Good evening. Tonight, our special report on the state of Melbourne's public transport. It's a system we love to hate, but as the figures show, it's one we couldn't do without. In the past year, Melburnians took 500 million trips on our trains, trams and buses. Commuters paid $600 million in fares, and taxpayers forked out $1.7 billion to keep it on the move. We're told it's improving, but Dean Felton, many say the system falls short.
Well, that's right, Mitch, and our investigation shows why they feel that way. They say the system is overcrowded and it lacks coordination. But it's the Myki ticketing system that has most people hot under the collar. The system's overcrowded and getting worse, most noticeably on the trains.
There's insufficient trains now to meet the demand.
The trains are just much more crowded.
Usage across the system's up 5%. Doesn't sound like much, but it means another 25 million passenger trips a year.
Some trains that come past you can't get on them because there's too many people.
Maybe they should get the Tokyo kind of thing where they just push people on the train.
Metro admits it's been a problem.
That's why we've added so many more services, well over 1,000 in the last year, to reduce the overcrowding, and we measured the overcrowding as well, and it has actually statistically reduced.
Melbourne's tram network is packed as well.
When you're finishing work, the last thing you want is to be in that much people.
Thousands of Melburnians, many beyond the reach of train and tram routes, rely increasingly on buses. Patronage leapt 9% last year to 111 million trips. But getting them to link up with train services is a major complaint.
We need to see better connections and better coordination between our different modes of transport so that people can get from anywhere to anywhere across Melbourne, even if they had to connect from a train to a bus.
Complaints about public transport that just can't be resolved end up with the Public Transport Ombudsman. And there's one issue that stands out above all others.
Got your Mykis yet? We're all going to have to get them soon.
It's just annoying. Prefer Met cards.
Myki cards are pretty rubbish. I stick to the Met cards myself.
Official figures show Myki, soon to become our universal public transport ticket, remains by far the Melbourne commuter's biggest frustration. Victor Hire's prepaid yearly Myki stopped working 6 months early. He's racked up nearly $200 in daily and weekly fares, waiting for a replacement.
As I look at it now, I'm just paying twice for all my fares. And I don't know about you, but I certainly can't afford to waste my money like that.
Now in opposition, Labor says it can't be blamed for any shortcomings in the system.
Labor took funding for major capital works in public transport from $300 million to $1.8 billion in its last term of office. What the Auditor-General has confirmed is that funding for public transport investment has stalled under the Liberals.
But the government points to its plans for new transport links to Rowville, Doncaster and South Morang. A Melbourne think tank says corporate dollars are needed to repair our ailing infrastructure.
We need to bring forward not just the public sector contribution, but also private sector contributions to the table to ensure that we get ahead of the infrastructure challenges.
And those challenges will only increase, with Melbourne's population set to grow by more than a third in the next 15 years. Dean Felton, 7 News.
And with Melbourne's population now at 4 million, the strain on our public transport system can only get worse. Demographer Bernard Salt joins us from the city. And Bernard, should more money be spent here in the CBD or in the outer suburbs?
There is no doubt that Melbourne is going to be under extraordinary pressure over the next decade and a half as our population goes from 4 million towards 5 million. This is going to place extraordinary pressure on the CBD, particularly as more jobs are being added to the Docklands, so more people are trying to get from the suburbs into the CBD on public transport.
So what should be number one on the Baillieu government's hit list?
Well, number one, I think, is further investment in the public transportation network. The other option, of course, is to decentralise jobs out of the CBD, take worker jobs out of the city centre and put them in places like Footscray, Box Hill and Dandenong to relieve the pressure on suburban people trying to get into the city centre.
And what new infrastructure do we need?
Well, in fact, more railway lines, more tram lines, of course. Ideally, a second crossing of the Yarra to alleviate the pressure on the Westgate Bridge. That's on my wish list.
Thanks, Bernard, for joining us tonight.
My pleasure.
Demographer Bernard Salt.